Test, 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 test. Okay, Josh, if you're not going to participate there, like with Labor Day weekend. Overall, I think the most like memorable thing about like going to Mexico, like just really crossing the border, that really stuck out to me. Is just like in the more like people will go there to make like $500 a week in America, and then they'll like just come back to Juarez, Mexico, and live like really, really good. Like we're talking about like a Hispanic young man is living by himself, which is like at the age of 18, which in Hispanic culture is just like really unheard of. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, we got to know him. Pretty much, he crosses the border every morning. He says that in Juarez, the job that he does in America, he usually makes the same amount as an engineer. So
Even more.
or even more,
Yeah.
and that's for a nice apartment. So it really did open up our eyes. Like, wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's different, but it's pretty cool of the amount of money he's saving and what he can do just from that border wall just across, what the difference is in pricing.
Yeah, I think like well most of the time because when we lived up in Alaska, there's a lot of people like from the Philippines that go to Alaska and they talk about yeah I'm like a dentist or like I'm a surgeon in the Philippines and they go to the States and then they're a cashier at like Walmart or something to that degree. So I think it just puts in perspective like how much value the U.S. dollar has to other countries. But yeah, I think what do you think of like the stigma of like going to like Mexico?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The first time that we entered, I was kind of a little bit not nervous, but a little like really aware with my eyes open because we're literally entering a different world right across from that fence. So yeah, entering was a little bit like anxious, like looking around, just making sure we weren't bringing ourselves attention. When we were leaving, we were way more comfortable than going in. We just realized that it's just another country. It's the people are cool. It's just if you're not trying to get into trouble, if you're not looking for trouble, trouble's not gonna find you. So that's how I feel about it. And just entering this new thing, the city of Juarez. That's how I'm feeling like about more about going into Mexico. Like I think like I'm more comfortable going into different cities now in
And that's
Mexico.
yeah, and that's about across the board. I can't say for anywhere. I can't say if you go to like Iraq, it's the same deal. But like I've gone,
Yeah.
but I've gone to like Dominican Republic. I've gone before. I already went to Mexico, and prior to that, I was in Colombia back in May of 2022. So I kind of already had the idea of like, yeah, if you mind your business, but also just don't be so vulnerable because we were talking about there's a video of a guy that he purposely lets himself get drugged by like there's like just some Colombian lady.
No, he didn't purposely get drugged. He pretty much it was like a scam. They were just pulling out scams, like pretty much like testing things out, seeing how things go in different countries, how the people get drugged and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He wasn't intentionally doing it.
Well, like he saw that the lady drugged him and then he just like let it happen and then afterwards they like questioned him like her and then like the pimp though, right?
No, they switched out the drinks.
No,
Like,
but oh yeah, but
she put the scopolamine in the drink. The producer saw it, and they changed the drinks before he went and drank the
gotcha.
drink.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that, but basically, if you don't look like you're trying to flex, like you're basically fine for the most part. I think like when I went to Colombia, there's people like wearing chains and shit. I mean, in Mexico, it's just like I don't know. For my repertoire, like I really before I travel, I just get a bunch of plain long sleeve T-shirts and then I head out with a few hats. I'm not trying to drag any attention, and I'm not carrying a bunch of cash on me. Because not something like something most of the time won't happen, but if something does, you don't want to have to lose everything, like all your credit cards, your license, and your passport.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt like when I first came in. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did have some jewelry on, but I mean, usually when I wear jewelry, it's not really like too big, flashy jewelry. It's probably like little small stuff here and there.
Sure.
Just like a little bracelet or a little gold chain right here. It's not like too crazy flashy. But I mean, like that's in Mexico. In Colombia, I would even go with this. I mean, just showing this shows them like, oh wow, five to $1,000. Oh, I need to get that. So it just depends which country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of people people that never, because Juarez was like a bad. I didn't really research it. He does all the researching for all the like traveling and stuff. I'm just like, hey, I'll go. But a lot of people that were like there, like in El Paso, were they in El Paso? Like, oh, you're going to Juarez? Did they have that same stigma?
Yeah, even in El Paso, there's people that live in El Paso that never even crossed the border at all. And I mean, before we even crossed in, they were just telling us, "Don't go. It's crazy. It's dangerous. You know, you might die." Da da da. Da. You know, every single type of misled information they're just gonna tell you. But honestly, it's just another country. It's downgraded, yes, but if you're on your P's and Q's, if you're aware and you're doing what you need to do, and you're not wandering off in the night in streets that you don't belong, you should be fine.
Yeah, that's a big part. A lot of it. Also, just a side note, a lot of people in El Paso, at least because you learn Spanish. Like a lot of people in El Paso just don't know Spanish. Like the second generation or first generation.
Yeah, I think half. Like I don't. I'm not to say the whole, but I was very surprised in some parts of El Paso that some people they knew Spanglish, but they didn't really know how to speak Spanish fluently. That was very surprising. I mean, I asked a guy at Walmart that was right by the border. I was like, hey, I told him in Spanish. I was like, hey, like, do you know information about the border? If we need the COVID vaccine, whatever. And he was like, I don't know nothing about that border. I don't know nothing about Juarez, and that kind of caught me by surprise. So, yeah, it's definitely two different worlds. That's what it shows me for sure.
Yeah, because I understand like why like we forgot Spanish because we lived in Alaska, so like you don't. At least like I didn't need it like growing up, and even like our mom just spoke English, so it was just kind of like.
Well, she spoke both, but it was more English because she was kind of like, well, if you're going to speak English, I might as well speak English as well. So,
I figured it's like more of a. I feel like it's more of like a fatigue thing. Just like, yeah, do you want to eat this food or not? Like,
yeah.
But no, I think overall like Juarez is cool. What do you think? Because I know, have you thought it's like an idea? Would you like live? Because you're moving to El Paso. Would you like live in Mexico, or are you like looking at other spots?
I would actually. I mean, I wouldn't shy away from living in Mexico, but first I would have to, do what everybody else. Well, not everybody, but look at a couple of places, see what it's like. Talk to the expats. Ask. Look for information, advice. What to do, what not to do.
What's the expat?
Expat's pretty much like a person that lives in a different country, but it's not there's not their country.
Mm-hmm. Is it like that one guy that like he.
Like travel bros, and they're expats. They're always traveling. They're in different countries.
Oh, I thought
they're renting apartments or Airbnbs. They're staying there, but they're not like a citizen of that country. They're just
Oh, because we ran into that one guy when we were walking back into El Paso. Like his kids are dual citizens. Is that like expat? Because he's not like native to there.
Well, I mean, I guess. I mean, like expat. I feel like an expat's kind of more like. Different like with TaylorMade, like these other YouTubers, they live in Thailand, Dominican Republic, and so on and so forth. They have an expat community, which is like a group of Americans that live in a different country where they're not from, and they just like that page, that Medellin page, expats living in Medellin. They're from America, but they live in Medellin, and they're not like citizen there or nothing like that.
I feel you. Yeah, I think that's good to know. Yeah, also because also check out Facebook pages if there's any if you're ever traveling to like Mexico or because I know like I'm going to Spain next week and there is a bunch of you could just do Airbnb experiences. You could do Facebook pages, but just have some idea rather than just kind of random. I have no idea what's going on. Just get an idea of what you want to do. So when the time comes, you're not just wasting your time. Just oh shoot, what do I do? And you're just on TikTok in your hotel. Don't be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, people travel different. They have their plans, and that's cool. But one advice I would give is not to wing it out. Because if you get to the country and you're like, all right, what do we do now? Now you're going to be shifting through your phone and looking at the computer, looking at information, trying to figure out what to do next when you could have just did that in your home country. And you would have had it all figured out. So you could just be on the go, just boom, no wasting time,
Yeah, don't go with the flow, create the flow.
Yeah, create the flow. And, and if something doesn't work, it's fine. You've already had so many things locked up that you can just substitute it and boom, go on to the next one. I'm just saying that for prior experience because I've went somewhere and I didn't even had to plan out to what to do, and we were just sitting there, and I'm just like, all right, let me look on my phone, let me figure out, what to do. When I'm like, man, we could have just did this when we had time at home, and we wouldn't be wasting this time that we have.
Yeah.
So
I still gotta do that kind of. I got an idea of what I want to do in Spain, but I just kind of have to do a little bit more. But I think the last thing is like really complimentary. Is everything's a lot cheaper, duh. But Uber rides. We took a 35-minute Uber ride one way. It was $12. Everything was closed, like the museums and the like the zoos for some reason. But 35 minutes for like a $12 Uber. That's good.
yeah, the Uber rides are pretty cheap. That's the thing that I love about going to other countries, especially land countries, is that it's like everything's like, food is cheaper, Uber rides are cheaper, a lot of things are cheaper. So it's like you get your best bang for your buck. So it's like what you thinking that you like, whatever you bring, you never know. You might bring some money back. I mean, that's how it was in Juarez. We were spending like what, $7-8 per Uber ride. Like you said, we went across 35 miles. We went all the way to the zoo, came back, and we spent maybe $15. In America, that would easily have been like maybe $50.
Yeah, over there it's like very much like I got the bill. I'll pay for our $10 meals. Because I think like there was like a restaurant. I think I forgot what I got. Maybe like an enchilada or some shit. But that was like $6 by itself. So and it was pretty good to me.
Yeah, drinks, whatever. I mean, that's what you're gonna get from Mexico. I'll tell you that. Like you are gonna get your best bang for your buck. I mean, and another thing, Airbnbs and hotels. I mean, if it's your first time, we went with a hotel. But if it's your second time or third time, or if you're already familiar with Mexico, I would always advise you to go with Airbnb because we definitely overspent on a hotel.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, then again, it is kind of like there is no tourism over there, so you got to think like I don't know. There's no tourism, so you can't. It's harder to give the benefit of the doubt because you're just in somebody's house. Because when we were walking, they were like we just stuck out like sore thumbs. In my opinion, like there was no other like I saw one white guy, like that was it. Even that was kind of like an anomaly. So it's kind of just feel out what part you're in, like. But yeah.
Yeah, sure. I actually saw more brown and blacks than white dudes over there. So it was but if you know Spanish, si tú puedes hablar español, like you're good, bro. You're gonna blend in just fine. So I mean, that's one more tip is if you don't know Spanish, I mean, at least learn a couple of words or try to learn something. You know what I mean? Don't just go there with no knowledge of the Spanish language at all.
Yeah, he put me on to well, he's given me like a few apps, but I think my favorite one is just because it's like an Audible. I could like listen to it while I walk my dog while I'm running. Is Language Transfer, and they teach you how to like not remember Spanish, but they teach you how to like formulate it to like how to make a certain word rather than remember like perro means dog, which is like yeah, I don't know, things like that.
Yeah. Apps like Hello Talk, Language Transfer, and Basu, whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you feel more comfortable to learn, just do it. It's not going to kill you. Maybe 30 minutes a day, before you travel there, maybe a week before. Or
Hello Talk's been pretty good because I know you're on that like every day, but it's good because you're still texting people and like you're messaging people in Spanish and they're correcting you and you're correcting their English. And it's just kind of like you want to like do small things like change your phone settings to Spanish, and that just helps you like kind of just I don't know because I'm way better at understanding like everyone else is because like you remember like people like you hear them and like you're able to put context together. I don't know, whatever. Just download the apps and like use it for like 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. All right. Anything else you want to add on top of it?
No, I would just say that whatever you go in Mexico, I mean, it's misunderstood. Every country's dangerous. Mexico has a cartel. United States have gangs. I mean, it's just whichever area you go to, there's gonna be something going on. As long as you stay, in the safe areas and you do not try to get into trouble, you should be fine, just like any other place.
All right. Next time we'll be talking. I'll probably be reviewing Spain. And when are you gonna go to Tijuana?
I believe in December.
Oh, really?
So in December or in February. So That will be coming. It will be coming soon. I'll be going there for about a couple of days.
Hong Kong.
I'm gonna check a lot of stuff. The beach, the bars, everything. I mean, shout out to Uncle Luke, but Uncle Luke's always talking about the Hong Kong bar, so shout out to him. But yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff. You know, I'm starting to venture off. We already went to Juarez, so why not Tijuana?
True. All right. Like, subscribe. He doesn't believe social media, so find him on WhatsApp. Stupid. All right, cool. All right. I'm Jeff.
I'm Josh.
All right, bye.